Always a very interesting day. There we go. Mondays are always a very interesting day. Now, some Mondays are more important than others, and today we have a jam-packed show because William Tate resigns and is heading to Rutgers. Beth Torina, well, looks like she's staying at LSU. Oh, by the way, SEC tournament starts. We recap LSU South Carolina. The SEC hates LSU for some real weird reason. The coaches voted on who the top pitchers in the SEC were, and Anthony Einstein got hosed for Zach Root. Derek Carriel should have been the freshman of the year, but they gave it to Volantis out of Texas, which Volantis is a really good dude and a really good player and a really good pitcher, but my man got on base for 43 straight games in the SEC. 43 straight games he was on base in the SEC. But yeah, there's nothing to talk about on this Monday. Nothing at all to talk about on this glorious Monday. We are live a little bit earlier. We got a lot to get into here today. So we're going to be live we were live at 3:45 Central Standard Time. But we got a lot that we got to talk about because Carter Bryant joins us at 4:30. So massive show, longer than an hour is going to be today. But we got lots and lots that we got to get to. But let's waste zero time here because there's a lot and a big topic that we got to get to. Listen, in the, 8 years that since I've started Are You Serious Sports or AYS Sports, I have had one rule on this show. The one rule that I've had on this show has been we do not talk politics on this show. I would very much feel as if that a lot of you have absolutely no idea Blake Ruffino's political leanings. And I wouldn't have that any other way. And we're not going to get political today. But I told you that anytime that politics starts putting their hands inside of sports or the school that we cover or that I cover, we will talk about it. Blake, where are you going with this? Well, today, President William F. Tate resigns from his position as the president of the university, or LSU, and is heading to Rutgers in New Jersey. Now, before we get into the move, from an academic standpoint, and this is all due respect to the great state of us, Louisiana, Rutgers is a really good institution. Nothing taken away from Rutgers. The thing that's very interesting here is that William Tate was very much involved in athletics. He was very much involved in football. He was definitely involved in basketball, especially women's basketball, as his wife was the team chaplain. When William Tate was hired for the job as president, he had this quote, and he quoted a former LSU president when he did. He said that he wanted to make athletics the front porch of the university because when you have great, not only academic success, but if you have great athletic success, people around the country will want to come to your school. He did put athletics into the forefront. He stood with Kim Mulkey. He stood with Matt McMahon. He stood with LSU basketball fans in general to do something about the PMAC, which continues to be underway. But as today, William Tate resigning and going to Rutgers, we need to call it what it is. Guys, this feels a little bit political to me. Political in the sense of that Jeff Landry has made it very well known to any of those who will listen that he is not aligned with the current or past president at the university. Now, it is of his prerogative, and he has the right to be able to do what he does from a governor standpoint on the things that he is rewarded for being in that position. I have no problem with him having pushback on President Tate being the guy that leaves the university. Guys, with all due respect, it's his decision and what he wants to do. The problems I do have in this are that William Tate, 1,000% put athletics first. And he made sure that everything that the athletic department needed, which some people don't know, when LSU needed NIL funds, he was a massive part of being a part of it. You know, getting the partnership with Our Lady of the Lake after LSU was facing and staring down the barrel of multiple level 1 violations and a lack of institutional control. He was the one that was on the forefront of making things right so that LSU football did not face the barrel of the gun when it came to the NCAA's investigation of a lack of institutional control. But I do think that the governor at the current moment and William Tate did not see eye to eye. And for what it's worth, I do feel as if this were the first, maybe even second act where politics got involved with LSU, I might throw my hands up and say, okay. I might throw my hands up and say, well, unfortunately, that's how things are going to work. But there are 6 instances in the last year and a half that I can name where politics have interjected themselves into athletics. Governor Jeff Landry attacking Kim Mulkey and her players and saying that her scholarships should be taken if they don't go out there for the national anthem, when Kim Mulkey has been a coach for 30 years and has had the same exact routine when it goes to in there playing a game where they're never out there. Now, the national anthem has been, and I will always stand for the national anthem. You can have your own decisions about that. And you can look at me any kind of way. But he interjected himself into the Kim Mulkey situation, which never should have been interjected, based off of a post by a journalist who, by the way, doesn't even work where he worked at the time when this became an issue anymore, for fabricating stories like he did for LSU and not being out there for the anthem. But the good old hope, Caitlin Clark will be out there. Well, LSU never did that, and they weren't making a stance. LSU women's basketball posted that they were in their locker room praying. But what do I know? Last year, a tiger named Omar was put in a really bad cage and brought into the LSU game during Alabama. A fat cat. An overweight tiger was put in a cage and he could barely stand. He was lethargic because they drugged him up, allegedly, all of this being allegedly. But it was not alleged that it was really fat. A fat cat. And LSU would lose, in a very embarrassing light. Then the very next week, a political figure would go out there and start roasting LSU, saying that the Tiger was the only one that showed up. There are a couple other things that don't have involved with sports, but are still involved with LSU. The LSU law professor doing a speech at LSU's campus about free speech executive order, which I didn't know that LSU had a problem with free speech, but that's neither here nor there. Later, in the beginning of the football season last year, if you remember, he came back, Jeff Landry did, and talked about that the football team and Brian Kelly needs to get them boys, quote unquote, on the sidelines for the national anthem. Again, I had no problems for the national anthem, but LSU hasn't been out there for the national anthem in the Brian Kelly era, and he's had the same routine even when he was at Notre Dame. Then, about 2.5 months ago, saying that athletes that don't do what he says should have their scholarships pulled, allegedly. At least that's what the quote said. Guys, we're in a place and situation in our country where I do think that people are getting very tired of politics. I know that I am, humbly. I am getting sick of it. I do think that our state, for what it's worth, faces bigger issues than a fat cat named Omar being on the sideline. I think our state, who doesn't have a lot of money as a state, because I do think not just the current governor, but governors before have mismanaged situations. We go into a situation where we're making mountains over molehills for political gain. Now, I am assuming that some of you, which it's your prerogative and opinion to have, that you are excited that William Tate is leaving. William Tate did nothing for the university, and especially athletics, in what we talk about, other than be a friend, and a massive one at that. What I'm trying to say here is that I'm getting pretty sick and tired of politics being involved in very non-sensitive issues. Having a cat on the sideline was dumb. It was dumb. It was dumb when we did it. It was dumb when they proposed it. On this show, I said it was going to be dumb, and guys, quite frankly, it was stupid. Telling players that they would have scholarships pulled if they don't do what I say. They do what their coaches say. The players in college do exactly what the coaches say. They don't make agendas. And I will tell you this. If you believe that Kim Mulkey wasn't vehemently pissed off about this being called out when she's like, that's not even what happened. See, context matters. Context matters. The national anthem issue was such a non-story based off of, look, we have a routine. We're sticking to that routine. No one is showing or portraying that us as individuals or as a team is standing up for a cause, and based off of the national anthem, it should have been a non-story. But we made it one. Now, the law professor thing, good. Do your job. Do what you got to do. Do whatever you got to do there. But I'll tell you this. The governor has the right to hire and put in the next president of the university. And it does worry me. The fingers that continue to entangle in this current situation is not right. And it will lead to things not being right. I will tell you this. Before a lot of you comment, you do not know my political leanings. And if you think, oh, here goes Blake being a lefty liberal, or whatever you want to call me. No, what I am being is real, because I'm not. I'm as non-political as you're going to get. You got to be able to look at the situation and say to yourself, what's the context of the situation? Putting a fat, overweight cat that allegedly looked like he was drugged up. I'm saying allegedly because I don't know. Allegedly looked like he was drugged up into a stadium with 102,000 people. What are we doing? Interjecting politics in sports leads to the Kaepernick situation. Leads to division. It leads to division. Kaepernick has the right to do whatever he wants. Owners have the right to do whatever they want. If they don't want to sign him, they don't have to. They don't have to. But I will tell you this, and mark my words, this is going to be the tip of the iceberg if things continue. It will. Why we are trying to interject politics into sports in these situations that are so petty. Gus, he went to LSU for a free speech rally. Believe you me, guys, literally, I get to come on a platform and talk about free speech. No one wants free speech addendums and the reality of giving people free speech more than anyone. Then you hit a law professor for having his free speech and you fired his ass. So you did a press conference on LSU's campus about free speech, which I love. I love that. Then you fired a guy for giving free speech, for using his ability for free speech. That wasn't even sports related, but everything else was. Guys, I am just telling you, you will run off people that would want to come here based off of stupid shit like this. I will tell you a quick story, and I will let you connect the dots. There were some recruits that committed to LSU. There were some recruits that took pictures with parents with the president, William Tate, when they committed. He was the one that eased the mind about the political stuff that was going on inside of LSU. If you don't believe me, I know it happened for a fact because I got told by multiple parents when it happened to their child to make sure that everything was, what word do I want to use here? Was in the right standing. You keep throwing politics into sports and you're gonna start paying for it. All I am saying is this has got to stop. Do the job that you are called to do. And if LSU athletically is doing something that they shouldn't be doing, fine. Instead of calling them out, why don't you help them? Because here's the truth. Athletics around the country, especially in college, are in the toughest times that they've ever been in. What they don't need right now, especially LSU when it comes to NIL and the collectives and the portal, they do not need a political fight from the governor to the athletic director to the president of the university. No, they need your help. They need your help more than they need to be worrying about the fights that they need to get into. The past administration making the court for basketball, putting names on the court. Kim Mulkey's name's the only one that should be on there. It's not just one of them. It's not just one instance where this has happened. It's not just one person. You keep doing stuff like this and you're going to bite yourself in the ass. I hate coming out here. I very much hate coming out here, having to talk about something that's political. Because, guys, as a person of faith, I lean of what the word of the Bible will say. What is the right thing here? The bottom line remains is that it drives me freaking insane. It makes me want to punch a wall that we have to have these conversations about petty shit. Now, I see a comment about this. It says, this is not about a Tiger, but a pro-athletic president. Done. I don't know what that means, but it was about power. Putting the Tiger was about power and showing the power that the governor had and could do what he wanted to do. Guys, it was a shit show. It made you look like a fool. Not him, but everybody. It made everybody look dumb. I hate these situations. They piss me off to no end. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. If LSU would have ran out there and said we're kneeling for the anthem or we're protesting the anthem, fine. They did something political to where you can go in there. But the context of a journalist, which you say the governor says he doesn't trust journalists, sounds great. If you don't trust them, then why do you trust the guy who had no context and it took Kim Mulkey to tell you that you're being an idiot in reference to what actually was happening? Pick up the phone and call her. Stand behind her because she's just as conservative as your ass is. So dumb. We're fighting over what? It's like an episode of Suits when Louis Litt and Harvey Specter keep fighting with one another. If they could just come to common ground and understand where both of them were coming from, everything would be great. But yeah, we got to come out here and talk about this bullshit. I'm tired of it. And I'm going to tell you, LSU fans, I really do feel like LSU fans are sick of this shit. And you should be. You should be. Because this is getting outrageous. Pushing out a very pro president about athletics. Because you didn't agree with some of the things that he stood for. Well, can we find common ground? Attendance is up. Revenue is up. Everything is up. It's about power. So stupid. Meanwhile, President Tate is being, let's call it what it is, President Tate's being pushed out and 11 inmates in New Orleans escape. You had a terrorist attack in New Orleans on January 1st. National Guard took over Homeland Security in the state of Louisiana. It was right on the news. And what are we're worried about? We have time for the athletics. Miss me with it. All right. So dumb. So dumb. I hate it. I hate that we have to fight this. But it is what it is. All right. Let's get moving here. Let's get to a quick break. We come back and talk about Beth Torina, LSU Baseball Recap, and Carter Bryant joins us. But before we get to that, I want to welcome our good friends over at Red Stick Financial. Guys, I am very excited. Very, very, very excited to talk about our good friends over at Red Stick Financial. Give them a call today at 225-407-9250 as they are joining the AYS team. Listen, I told you guys that we were going to be having a lot of new faces and a lot of new businesses that would be a part of AYS. And Red Stick Financial is a part of that, and they're coming on with us. Listen, if you're in Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, from Amarillo to Meridian, and you are looking to purchase a home or refinance your home, guys, I have a line with Sheridan, Ryan, and the gang. You need to call them today at Red Stick Financial, 225-407-9250, or go to redstickfinancial.com. That's redstickfinancial.com. Go local, go Red Stick. Let me take a quick break. When we come back, Beth Torina status next. Stay with us.
BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
Guys, let me tell you about our good friends over at Grand Slam Heating and Air. where your comfort is their top priority. At Grand Slam Heating and Air, they promise to provide customers with high-quality HVAC service at an affordable price while ensuring the homeowner peace of mind. From their office to your home, they guarantee the best hassle-free experience around. Efficiency and comfort is their game. Let them make your home Grand Slam today. At Grand Slam Heating and Air, they're offering their annual maintenance plan starting off at $18.75 a month and also doing those $99 tune-up promotion. They provide free estimates for system and ductwork replacement, as well as offering financing to get the job done with no money up front. From Baton Rouge to Hammond to Covington, they're all around. So what you need to do today, give them a call at 225-380-9065. That's 225-380-9065. Or go over to their website, getgrandslamair.com. That's getgrandslamair.com, where your comfort is their top priority.
We're back.
All right. So this past weekend, LSU lost to Southeastern in 2 games in the Baton Rouge Regional. And the big topic of conversation after what happened this weekend was what is going to happen with Beth Torina, the head coach of LSU softball. I have no idea what just happened there, but something chaotic just happened. Listen, this has been a topic of conversation for quite some time now. This past weekend, LSU went up against a team that they had beaten during the regular season in Southeastern. And they get into a regional, their own regional in their own park, and they lose twice to a team with, look, as a proud alum, a team that quite honestly they shouldn't be losing to. You know that, and I know that. Now, when Beth Torina came to LSU in the 3 seasons prior, while she was at LSU, in 2015, 2016, and 2017, all 3 of those years, she got to the Women's College World Series. Since 2017, she has not been able to overcome that clip. In 2018, she got to a super regional where she got defeated by Florida State. In 2019, a super regional where she got defeated by Minnesota. In 2021, a super regional again where she lost to Florida State again. But here's where things have kind of started to turn for Beth Torina and the staff. In 2022, she lost in a regional to San Diego State and Cal State Fullerton. In 2023, she lost in a regional to ULL. Last year, she was able to get back to the super regional, but they got blanks in games 2 and 3, and they lost to Stanford. And this year, she lost in her own regional again, this time to Southeastern Louisiana. The issue with Beth Torina over the last couple years, even though she got an extension, which I know a lot of people don't agree with, is the simple fact that the 2 of the last 3 postseasons that LSU women's or LSU softball has been in, 2023 and 2025, they have lost in a regional to an in-state program. And not only an in-state program, but a program who quite honestly doesn't have the resources. You can make the argument doesn't have the talent level and doesn't have the overall capacity to do what LSU should do. ULL and Southeastern do not have the funds for softball like LSU does. They don't. I don't know if they have the talent level either. But you're losing to 2 programs that you should be better than in your own state. That alone should be questioned for a firing. But I put a tweet out the other day, and I said this on the show last week. I said it on Friday, believe it or not. With the House settlement case about to come through college athletics, and in case you don't know what the House settlement case is, it's where players in all sports will be paid TV revenue money. Athletic administrations are about to go through a massive change very soon, where they got to take more than half of their resource and pay players on the TV revenue side. Speaking of Jeff Landry, maybe he should have been helping that, but he didn't. He's fighting with everybody. And the athletic department, from their bottom line, is going to take a haircut, a massive haircut. And the question I posed last Friday, and the question I posed on Twitter last night, and the question I posed today is Beth Torina about to get saved based off of LSU not wanting to make a rash decision and pay for a buyout for Beth Torina when you're about to spend all this money through the House settlement case and TV revenue and all those things? Guys, quite frankly, I don't think it should have mattered. Last year, I was asked, do I think that Beth Torina is going to survive losing a super regional to Stanford? Which I said, yes, I think she's going to survive it. But I'm to a place now where I don't know if you're taking this serious enough, if you're continuously allowing her to run this program when 2 of the last 3 years she lost to in-state schools in a regional. And schools that, quite honestly, she shouldn't be losing to. Credit to Southeastern, credit to ULL for doing exactly what they needed to do to win. And it's a big deal for Southeastern, and it should be. It should be. But then I listened to her at the podium, and I listened to some of the things that she said this weekend after the second loss to Southeastern. Guys, she's reeling. She doesn't know what to say. I think Beth is a great person. I think that for what it's worth, she has been a good coach, not a great one, but she's 578 and 253 at LSU. Since the College World Series, she hasn't finished better than 5th in the SEC. And in the last couple of these seasons, she hasn't finished better than 6th. This year, they finished 9th and still was able to host a regional. And softball this postseason has been very wacky as A&M goes down to Liberty last night too. But it doesn't excuse that since COVID, you've lost in 2 super regionals and you've lost in 3 super regionals as well. You got to the regional in 2022, they lost to San Diego State and Cal State Fullerton. They got blanked. You got blanked by Southeastern this year, and then you lose to ULL a couple of years ago. Guys, with all due respect, that's not acceptable. Now, it would appear that she's going to get yet another chance. Guys, you want to know why people aren't backing LSU softball? And I know that this is going to rub people the wrong way. People aren't backing LSU softball because they don't think that Beth can lead them back to the promised land. They don't. They're not going to back her financially until she starts doing things. And quite frankly, they did back her in recruiting this past year. She got the #1 overall player in the country from softball. And they lost. My question would be this. What is the expectation for LSU softball on a year-in, year-out basis? What's the expectation? Because I ask that in the sense of if the expectation is at least once every 3rd year you go to the College World Series, fine. Hell, you make one and you don't get there for 4 years, fine. Because you haven't been there since 2017. You haven't been there in 8 years. You're losing to teams in your own state that you have no business losing to. And quite frankly, that's just not going to cut it for my expectation. Everything that we say about LSU baseball is what I think LSU softball is. Frankly. If you want to talk about over-delivering or over-promising and under-delivering, I do think it would be LSU softball. Now, like I told you, last year I came out here and said, listen, I'm not going to call for her firing, and I'm not really calling it for it now. But it would appear that she's going to get another year. And as long as she's in there and they haven't pulled the plug and they haven't ripped the Band-Aid off, Jock Stu said if WAFB is reporting that she's going to stay. Guys, I don't know if they're taking it seriously. Now, I will say this in the defense of LSU's athletic administration, because there's a lot of changes that are going on. And I do think that programs around the country are scared to make massive moves like this. And I don't even know if it's a massive move. But they don't want to spend money that they don't have right now, or that they think that they're not going to have. Beth has done some good things at LSU. She has. And we can't ignore that, because she's won 700 games as a head coach in softball. She knows what she's doing, but they keep under-delivering. And when you go out to the podium and you say stuff like, we progressed this year, you didn't progress with shit. No progress was made. You got blanked by a team 30 miles down the road who is not more talented than you, isn't funded better than you, and quite frankly, should not be losing to you. But they came in there and they knew that they could beat you, and they took it to you. And I call it the pucker factor. When you're so scared to make a mistake that you can't move, they froze. They froze. Southeastern went into this regional thinking, we ain't got nothing to lose and everything to gain. And they beat your ass for it. And good on that whole coaching staff. Good on that whole Southeastern coaching staff. But this is a joke. This is a joke. Over-promising, under-delivering would be how I characterize Beth Torina right now with LSU softball. Bro, if Jay did this, if Jay was doing this, boy, y'all would be calling for him. Y'all be calling it for him to go to Angola. Y'all be calling for prison time. And the man might go back to Omaha this year and go to Omaha 4 of the last 8 years as a head coach. 4 of the last 8 if he goes this year. Half. In baseball. Whew. Whew. I don't know, man. I don't know. All right. Let's turn the page here. Speaking of LSU baseball. So, LSU did finish 19-11 in SEC play, third in the SEC, and they'll be third when they go this week to Hoover for the SEC tournament. And they do get the double bye. It's interesting. I was listening to Jay Johnson this week or weekend, and him saying that he did not vote for the new format, which is funny, for the SEC baseball tournament. And now he gets the benefit of having the double bye and playing on Friday. And I'm going to be very interested to see what Jay does. Now, we'll talk about this more tomorrow on what LSU does. But I am very intrigued to see what Jay Johnson does. But we talked about this on the postgame in our last episode, and I want to bring this back up. I've seen a lot of discussions about if LSU is going to be a top 8 national seed. Because today, D1 Baseball ranked LSU as the number 1 team in the country. If I told you this on Saturday, and I will repeat it again today. If you're asking my humble opinion, I'm gonna retract what I said. I said I don't think they fall out of the top 5. And I still really don't think that they do. But I also don't think they fall out of the top 6, because I could see a world where they get at the 6 mark. I don't think they're going to be a 7 number overall seed. I think a lot of people are putting into RPI as being the only factor of what this new committee is going to do. Guys, the people that are in that committee are LSU friendly now. And I know that I talked to Ben Upton, and we talked about this on Twitter. The guys that run 11.7, fantastic content. They do a great, great job. You cannot convince me as of right now that, number one, that you're not a top 8 seed. And I saw some in our own media questioning that. That is not true. Not going to happen. They're a lock. LSU baseball is a lock to be a top 8 national seed. Without a doubt. The question becomes is where you're going to be. Now, the projection right now is them to be at number 7 with Arizona, Miami, and I forget who else was in there, the regional. That will be brutal. That would be brutal if that happened. You get Arizona, Miami, and whoever the 4th seed is. I still think you're going to win it. Now, that's a tough one to get out of. But I got to be real with you. I just don't know if I see them falling out of the top 5. You're going to take the number 1 team in the country, which ranking does matter a lot. You're going to take them out from number 1 and push them to 7 because of what may or may not happen in the tournament. Now, like I said, you want to put all this shit to rest, go in there and beat whoever you got on Friday night, end it, show them who you are, and let it be done with. You then will be, in my humble opinion, put the stamp on being that top 5 seed. But guys, quite frankly, I don't think it gives a shit. Put them wherever you want to put them. Because they're going to be a top 8 national seed. The RPI this, the RPI that. But there's something that the president of that committee and there's something that those baseball people know that nobody else wants to talk about. Jay Johnson has told people this, and they know it. Because teams backed out of weekend series with LSU this year. They backed out. So when you're playing Dookie Water State and Rudy Putek, your RPI's down, but nobody wanted to come here and play. So you can base it off of the RPI all you want to. That's not the determining factor. I saw Arkansas come off in this hole and get that ass whooped. I saw them get run ruled. I saw Tennessee on a Sunday come in here, get their ass whooped, and get run ruled. This team is different at home. So throw anybody you want to throw in there. I don't give two Rudy Poos because baseball in the box, you're still going to win it. You got the path to win it. Anything can happen in a regional. But this conversation of LSU not being a top 8 national seed and basing your thought off of that they got to win games in the tournament. By the way, winning games, plural, meaning winning multiple games would mean that they would have to go to a final to be able to be a top 8 national seed. Are you, I'm going to say it. Are you retarded? Really? Are you? So we're going to base a tournament win or loss, an SEC tournament win or loss based off of what has happened the entire season. The RPI says this, and the committee really does it. They ain't going to do that shit to LSU. LSU was a 7 RPI when Paul Skeens near shoved that shit right down your throat, and they were a top 5 seed. They were 19-10 that year, too. 19-10 was their record in the SEC. Listen, it don't matter. Give us the 7 seed for all I give a Rudy Poo. I would put good money, really good money, on that LSU does not fall out of that top 5. I can't see it. Now, before we get to Carter here, let me say this. The SEC first teams, second teams, and all SEC freshman teams got announced today. Derek Curiel got hosed for Freshman of the Year in the SEC. I know that they gave it to Volantis from Texas, and he is an amazing pitcher. He's done some amazing things in relief. He's got 12 saves on the year and 20 appearances. He's got a 1.66 ERA. He's been phenomenal. Derek Curiel in year 1 hit .344 in the SEC with 209 at-bats. He had 53 runs, 72 hits, 12 doubles, 2 triples, 6 home runs, 45 RBIs, no errors. He had a 43-game on-base streak. So he was on base. He had a streak where he was on base more than half of the appearances that Volantis had. I never agree with a pitcher unless you're absolutely insane and you're a starter and you're doing some of the things kind of like what Kate Anderson and Anthony Einstein were doing. If a freshman did that, all right, fine. Kind of how like what Alex Lane did as a freshman when he went undefeated in the league and he didn't have a loss. Like, fine. Derek Curiel got hosed. He got snubbed. I don't like a dude that's played 55 straight games being selected over a guy that's a closer. Guys, a closer got it over Derek Curiel. A closer. That's dumb. But here's the thing. Derek Curiel was second team, and look, LSU announced all the guys that were on first and second team. Cade Anderson got first team. Zach Cowan got first team. Jared Jones got second team. You can go look at all that. I'm not going to bore you with reading that list off. You've probably seen it and go read it. But there was a bigger snub more than Derek Curiel. Because Anthony Ianson was a second-team All-SEC performer. Zach Root was a first-team. The ace for Arkansas was a first-team performer. Anthony Ianson has a better record than him. Ianson went 9-2. Zach Root went 6-4. Anthony Ianson has a 2.88 ERA. Zach Root has a 4.16 ERA. I could end the argument right there. The argument's over with. Why does the SEC hate LSU so much? That's what I want to know. They have catered to Texas too, by the way. So much. Derek Curiel and Anthony Ianson got snubbed. And you can't convince me otherwise. There's no way that you can put Zach Root on the first team All-SEC and think Anthony Ianson doesn't deserve it more than he does, because he does. All right. Let me get to a quick break. When we come back, Carter Bryant joins us next. Stay with us.
Guys, I want to talk to you about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company. Are you facing tough times due to an injury from a car accident, navigating the complexities of divorce, or purchasing a new home? At the Drake Williams Law Firm and Drake Title Company, they understand the challenges you're going through, and they are here to help. The lawyer team of Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, along with Morgan Daniels, have the experience and proven track record to give you that peace of mind. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. That's 985-386-7600 to schedule a free consultation at their brand new office located in historic downtown Ponchatoula. They're also doing a special, the AYS special. If you're refinancing or closing on a home in Southeast Louisiana, request the Drake Title Company to handle your closing. If you mention Blake Ruffino and AYS, you're going to receive a $400 discount on title fees. Again, give them a call at 985-386-7600. Let them know that Blake Ruffino sent you on by. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Foss and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Foss has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements.
Carter, the Power Bryant. Good evening, good sir. How are you?
I love being baseball season, T-ball season. It's the best time of the year, and
is that because we get to go earlier in the day?
Yeah, it makes for a fun evening. I was enjoying hearing you be outraged by the all SEC teams and stuff.
Which one did you like me being outraged more? That Jeff Landry keeps getting involved in stuff that he shouldn't be getting involved in with William Tate, or this snub that the SEC? I think the SEC is. Can I be real with you? I have had some very bad opinions in my time. I know one opinion that I'm not wrong in at all ever. It's that the SEC has been doing some really stupid things.
Okay, like what?
Well, like, for example, you catered to Texas when they came into the league.
Yeah.
Your commissioner keeps running out there saying, we need this, we need that, we need this, and he won't take a stand on any of it. He doesn't take a stand on anything. They asked him 3 weeks ago what he thinks that, John Kennedy, of all people, was the one that asked him on Capitol Hill, well, if you want regulation, what regulations do you want? And he couldn't answer the question.
Right.
You know, like Nick Saban was asked on Feinbaum the other day, what's the first thing you're going to do? And he goes, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to talk about that right now. Mother trucker. What?
Yeah. You cry foul and don't have specific solutions.
Exactly. Yeah. So when Derek Curiel, who got on base 43 straight games, when Anthony Ianson had a 2.88 ERA and Zach Root got his shit pushed in, and you want me to look at this and say that like there's no bias? Are you dumb?
So the Arkansas player, should he have gotten Player of the Year?
No. Aloy probably, but here's the problem.
Yes. Yeah.
He went into some big Carter. They almost went Arkansas won 6 of their 4 series. 6. They're a run away from tying and going 5-5. The problem is that they were one of the teams that almost that they do what they got to do in reference to getting to 20 wins because they never got swept. That's how you do it. When you lose, you just don't get swept and you win your home series. The problem is that Aloy against some of the better opponents, he got his ass beat. I mean, so even then.
So who do you think should have been the Player of the Year? I have no idea.
Liam Doyle.
Oh,
who are ironically Arkansas rocked on Saturday. I think it should have been Doyle, Anderson, or Aloy. I don't mind Aloy getting it. He's been ridiculously good. He's played really good at shortstop. But that's not my point. The Valantis kid should not have been over Curiel. And Ianson, if you're going to talk about Arkansas, Ianson should have not been second team over and Root be on first team. That is ridiculous. Carter, that would be like let me tell you what that would be like. He's third in the country in strikeouts. That would be like Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson being on second team.
Oh, because he's not the Friday night guy, basically.
Anderson,
yeah.
It would be like leaving Justin Jefferson off of the All-America list or All-SEC list because you already got one dude in the same position there. It's what it really is what it would be like. Now, I don't think that Anthony Ianson is Justin Jefferson. He's not that.
No, but your analogy is sound.
Well, but that would be what it's like. It would be like putting Isaac Tesla as the number 1 overall over Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. Okay. I get what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying? The dude almost had a 5 ERA. 5. Anthony Ianson was bending dudes over and smacking that ass all pause.
The root of all evil is bias against LSU just being great, and that's it. But yeah, I am a fan of Ianson. I love his attitude on the mound, and I love that LSU's got a strong 1-2. That's what I'm talking about, man.
In reference to baseball, look, I think that they're a top 8 seed. Yeah. If everything goes through the box, man, you're staring down the barrel of being a team that goes to Omaha. And here's a conversation that we need to have. If Jay Johnson goes back to Omaha, is he the best coach on LSU's campus?
I would say so. I'm fine.
I would too.
That. Yeah, I'm fine with saying that. It's either him or Kim, or I mean, you could make a case for Jay Clark, but I'm with you on that. I'm with you.
The problem would be is that I think it's tougher in baseball to do it, and he would have been in Omaha 4 of the last 8 years, full seasons, taking out COVID. 4 of the last 8. That is. By the way, he would have been to a national title. He would have won a national title. And once you get in Omaha, there's no telling what the hell happens.
Yeah. I mean, I think people don't realize how random the College World Series can be. I think getting to Omaha is just so tough now in the SEC. Even though I don't watch it every day, I mean, the SEC is just so loaded. I mean, you can legit see Georgia win it all. And Georgia is not even known for college baseball, and they're loaded this year. So
yeah, they might be a top 8 seed.
Yeah, it's wild. So if you were William Tate out the door, so you got some transition there. But if you were Scott Woodward, what would you do as you watched your alma mater, Southeastern, take care of business? What would you do, Blake? I wasn't able to listen to the very beginning.
Yeah, all right. So before we get into William Tate and this whole thing, before we kind of get to some football related stuff too, it would be one thing if she was losing, if Beth Torina was losing in regionals. It would be one thing. Carter, she's losing to in-state schools.
It's happened a lot.
2 out of the last 3 years, their season got ended by the in-state school that doesn't have more funding than them, that doesn't have more talent than them. I mean, look, I think Beth is pressing too hard. I do. She's got what I call the pucker factor. She can't move. She keeps freezing. I mean, they hit a weak ground ball back to the pitcher, and they're so tight that they can't make a play at home. The pitch before that, you give up a line drive single to a hitter that's not hitting over 200. I mean, what are we talking about here? I mean, they're underperforming.
Dude, they caught so many breaks to even be in those games too. Like it was ridiculous. Like Southeastern, that pitcher
plays.
Dude, that pitcher dropping that pop fly. I never tweet out softball highlights, anything or
Me
whatever.
either.
But because I don't know a whole really anything about it. But dropping that pop fly is just insane. And I was like, you're getting all these breaks and you still can't come through. And Blake, I will agree with you on this. The elite softball teams tense up. The only elite softball teams that don't tense up is Oklahoma. I don't know what Patty Gasso tells her players, but in crunch time, they're relaxed. They're out there, just free flowing. But LSU, you could see they're tense. A big play was them not being able to do a relay. Basic relay stuff, like Rufino, like that. You practice relays every single day, and they can't do that, and that allowed an extra run, allowed runners to advance. So you just got to do the basic things, and the fact that Southeastern, because I know a lot of people didn't end up watching on Sunday, Nebraska beat them 8-0, and then beat them 14-1 in the other game. So it wasn't like Southeastern was a power. They lost 22-1. They lost 22-1 over 14 innings. So it's something Beth is doing. And,
do you think the House settlement? Do you think the House settlement case is saving her? And what I mean by what I mean by that is, LSU athletic department is about to have to pay football $20 million once this House settlement case is over for TV revenue. Players, $20 million. I think football yet again saved Beth Torina, and as crazy as this, you mean to tell me that Scott Woodward, who paid a ridiculous amount of money in every stop that he has, isn't going to pull a plug on Beth Torina? I mean, what's her buyout? Let's say it's $3, $4, $5 million. That ain't shit to them.
I know.
It's not shit.
It's insane to me that is the case. I do think she will be retained. I do think she is still a very
Jock
good.
Is already reporting that she's being retained, which is crazy.
Yes, and that should not be the case if this happened twice. If it happens once, it's one thing. Twice, softball's random, small sample size, all that stuff. But it was really bad. And look, I had to apologize to my entire audience, Blake. Because I am Beth Torina's biggest cheerleader. Because I was chalking it up to small sample size that you lost to UL, and then last year, you played the best pitcher in the country from Stanford. And you ran into a buzzsaw. The
problem with Stanford is they got blanked. That was the problem. Yes, she's good. You can't get a run in 14 innings.
It's insane. Absolutely insane. And yes, that pitcher, whatever her name was, she was incredible. But man, it's a problem. The postseason yips are a problem. And Blake, there's two really sharp softball minds that were telling me that actually watch every pitch of every softball game.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "Hey, Carter, you're wrong on Beth Torina." I was like, "No, I think she's going to get it done this year. Not win it all, but I thought for sure we were going to play better, and we played terribly. And that's all there is to it. They played terribly versus Southeastern. If I would have been fine if Southeastern played amazing and they made plays, but they, like I said, they were
They're not the better team.
Yes, and the runs that you scored, a lot of them were Southeastern mistakes, right? First baseman can't catch the ball. But dude, I've honestly never seen anything like it. I really haven't at LSU.
Well, Carter, let me ask you this. What are the expectations for LSU softball?
I would like to, if you constantly have top 10 teams and you have home field advantage and the fans are amazing. On TV, they look great. And someone that was actually at the game said, "Hey, the energy was there."
They came out to support, man. There was no home baseball series this weekend. There were people there.
Yeah, and I think I would be fine if you just went to the World Series once every 2 or 3 years. But now it's been since
2017.
2017. It's a problem. It is a big problem, and people care. I did not think, Blake, that there would be multiple people that watch us and sit and watch every pitch of every game. Softball's grown.
Oh, dude. I don't talk about it on this platform, but my mother has to watch my children because sports conveniently doesn't happen. If you cover a team like LSU, it doesn't happen in 9 times out of 10. It happens in premier prime time. And because my wife works on weekends, because she does a lot of things for weddings, she's not here during the weekend. So me and her busiest days happen on the weekends.
Yeah.
And so my mom is normally having to come to my house and watch my children. I will be prepping for shows. I will be doing whatever. And she is constantly watching softball. And I'm going to give my mom credit. She said this. And I'm not vocal about it. She goes, "It shows a lack of wanting to be good if you kept Beth Torina." And she watches every pitch. She says it shows that you don't give a shit. So women who, in my humble opinion, who would give money to a collective for softball, they don't want to give investment to someone that they don't think can lead them there.
Crazy. Yeah.
You're in a stalemate. You're legitimately in a stalemate. And look, you got the number 1 player in the country last year, and I don't know, Carter. I don't know.
The Taylor Pleasance era was a disappointment, and then you get the freshman of the year, 42. Her name slips my mind. The 18 home runs. They showed the graphics. She had more home runs than Southeastern's team
combined.
Yes,
wasn't it? Right.
And yeah, in that first game, you got unlucky. I thought they hit a walk-off in that first game. I wish I had a better angle of that damn foul pole. But man, I hate and look, our main sport. Well, my main sport's football. You do football and baseball. But
I would say football is ours too.
Yeah, and I spend so much time watching a good chunk of women's basketball. It's hard to watch every single sport. It really is. But softball has a loyal following, and
they're pissed.
They're pissed. I feel bad for the belt guy that sits behind home plate, Sanchez.
Sanchez.
I feel bad for him, man. I got to meet him one day. But
yeah, remember he was on the remember when LSU went in there in 2019 and he was holding the belt up. That dude was talking so much shit to Bama fans. That was funny. That was funny.
I love it.
Look, we'll see what happens, but I think that they did not want to pull the plug based off of what's probably going to happen in the next couple of weeks with this house settlement case. I really do.
I'm fine with it, knowing that we know Beth Torina is going to field a good product, right? Maybe not when it counts. But guess what? Here's what I'm going to do. Beth, I'm still in your corner. I'm still in your damn corner. I'm still gonna chalk it up to small sample size and postseason mumbo
All
jumbo.
right, ain't no small sample size, brother.
Dude, I am going to stick with you, Beth Torina. I'm still in your corner. I got to double. I got to.
I don't like calling for people to be fired ever, like ever. It's hard to justify not moving on from her. It's very, very hard not to justify.
I am tripling down, Beth. And this isn't
Yeah,
just
not even
LSU.
double it down. You're tripling down.
And this isn't even LSU fandom. Beth is going to come back better than ever, and we're going to OKC. We're going, baby. Let's go.
We'll see. Carter, let me ask you this. We didn't really get into it last time. We got into it some. In reference to football, I kind of want to change the page here on you. A lot of this post-spring stuff is coming out, which we talked on a little bit. We talked on the LSU side of things. Carter, are you seeing this stuff about people saying that they're going to be a playoff lock? Did we talk about this?
Yeah, no, everybody for the most part has LSU in their playoff. Now, what's interesting, Blake, is I haven't seen anyone with LSU as a first round bye good. I've not seen a single.
Well, like On3 came out there today. They got him at 11.
Yes. So that's what's kind of concerning is that everybody is group thinking LSU in that 7 to 11 or 12 out large,
right,
somewhere around there. So that is concerning because there's a lot of people out there that don't think LSU is elite. They think they're good enough. It would be nice if there was a neutral set of eyes that said, you know what, F it. I think LSU will get a first round bye. But most Blake,
they're not getting no first round bye. They're not winning the SEC.
Yeah, and that's what it would probably take.
You know what's interesting? Urban Meyer came out here and said that the SEC has been taken over by the Big Ten. Do you agree with him?
No, it's
me either.
But you got to look at it. You got to look at it from Urban Meyer's perspective as well. Urban's been at the top of every single conference that he's been at. So if you want to make the case that the top of the Big Ten is better than the top of the SEC and the distance between them, sure, right? Because Urban's
let me ask you this. Is that because of 1 year?
It could be that.
Because last week he came out there and said that he thought that entire Michigan staff should be banned from college football forever. So he called the Michigan team fraudulent. So winning back-to-back titles, you're the one that called them fraudulent. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah, and you just can't trust Urban Meyer. Go back to the bars and find you another co-ed, man. But go on ahead, man. When you shake his hand, just don't sniff his fingers. That's what you got to do.
Oh, yeah. He was digging in that booty. That was for damn sure. Listen,
look. I have a lot of respect for Urban Meyer. He is at his peak. He was as good as Nick Saban as a football coach, right? But he's not that anymore. He's crazy.
Well, I will say this. If the Big Ten wins a third straight national title, I do think that there can be a conversation. But I don't think Ohio State's going to win it this year. I don't think they go back-to-back. I would say that they might be borderline if they're going to make the playoffs their damn selves. I don't know enough about Oregon at the current moment. And I think that you have Texas going into Columbus in week 1 at high noon. And what if Texas goes into Columbus and whips that ass? I mean, Texas
happening. Yeah.
I can see it happening too. I mean, that front seven is ridiculously talented. And here's another thing. I think the SEC had to hit a reset the last 2 seasons. Let me explain. Do you know that half the conference has changed their coaches within the last 4 years? So Saban's not there anymore. Brian Kelly comes into LSU. Billy Napier comes into Florida. Mike Elko's at A&M. Sark is at Texas. I mean, Carter, they've completely had to revamp their coaching staffs and rebuild here. And then the best coach of all time left. How long did it take Ryan Day to win a first national title? 7 years? And by the way, the best team in the SEC this year lost their starting quarterback in the SEC championship game. Carter, they're beating Notre Dame if Carson Beck doesn't walk out the door. If he doesn't get hurt, I'm fully convinced because they can barely beat Gunnar Stockton.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I do think Georgia wins. I do.
I mean, so can Georgia lock down Ohio State? I don't know if that happens, but I saw a team in Georgia and Texas. Carter, they're on the 2-yard line from beating Ohio State. They're 2 yards away from beating them. So I saw Georgia handle them massively with Carson Beck, even in a down year.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go so far to say they were 2 yards away, potentially tying or going for 2 in the win, maybe.
Well, they were down 6.
Oh, I thought they were down 7.
If I'm not mistaken, well, regardless, they're down. Even if they're down 7, they're on the 2-yard line from tying them and going into overtime.
And as a Texas bettor, I wish they would have scored. But I'll be honest with you, Blake. I do think the SEC has become so much better at the bottom. And I think that is very important for LSU fans to understand because you are a program that is objectively in the top half of the conference, right? All these teams at the bottom have good quarterbacks now. It is the biggest change that these bottom tier SEC schools can go fix their quarterback situation in the portal basically every single year. You can, in yesteryear, going to get John Mateer used to not be a thing. You can do that now. And
Carter, I'm just going to tell you right now, the quarterbacks in the SEC are far better right now than those in the Big Ten.
I would agree.
Think about this. Diego Pavia might be the 8th best quarterback in the conference, which I'm not a Pavia fan. John Mateer might be the 5th best quarterback in this conference. Garrett Nussmeier might be the 5th or 6th.
Yeah, depending on how you look at it. I mean,
right, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, and another thing about the Big Ten that I'll find fascinating. One team I can't quit thinking about, and this is totally random, is Illinois. I can't quit thinking about them. Like
Joe DeLeon's really high on them too.
Right. And
I don't think they got the dudes. I don't
either. But I went on an Arkansas show recently. Bielema is so damn good between the headset in a game. And the fact, every year, if he's coaching against James Franklin, he's going to outcoach him. He might not win the game.
Speaking of a team that's stacked, dude, all right.
Penn State's got to get it done, man. Dude, they've got to get it done.
They got James Franklin's legacy's on the line. It's on the line. But, brother, they are stacked. That Pena kid they brought in, all right, y'all going to find out. Y'all going to find the fuck out. That kid is a baller. All right, people going to find out.
I also think Nicholas Singleton's a little underrated, man. He's just not had that.
I do too. Allen's underrated.
Dude,
Carter, they almost beat the Notre Dame with their no receivers. They
didn't get the pass.
Right. This Pena, look, the kid that made the ridiculous catch against LSU from USC, he's there. That's
right. Yeah.
Yeah. They got the Sun Belt's leading receiver from Troy. This Pena kid is a dog. I'm telling you, Penn State's my number 1 team coming into the season.
Oh, come on now. Come on,
you can't put Texas there. You cannot put Texas there because as much as I think Arch Manning's going to be one of the best quarterbacks that we've seen in quite some time, he went out there and threw 2 picks against ULM and threw a pair of picks against State. He had some turnover issues now.
I think Texas. I think Texas.
Let me ask you this question. What has Arch Manning done right now to date that says that he won't be turnover prone?
Nothing, but
exactly.
Here's my thing. So on Power Hour SEC later today, I'm really sat down and watched. God, why am I drawing a blank? I sat down and watched him all day. Texas A&M's quarterback that you like a lot.
Marcel Reed.
Marcel Reed. Watched the entire Auburn game. Watched the entire USC game.
Say it. What you about to say? Say it.
He's good. He's really good.
Do you remember when I went on your show and I said that this kid might be one of the best?
Yeah. And
remember when people hated on me?
I know I do.
Your show.
I do. And
all right.
I understand Texas lost a good chunk of their defensive line and lost a good chunk of their secondary. But man, dude, they were coached brilliantly in that game versus Marcel Reed, who played really good towards the end of last year.
He had no help.
I mean, they shut him down. You could watch it later on Power Hour SEC. And
now they Texas got Concepcion. They got some dudes there now. Noah Thomas. No, Noah Thomas went to Georgia, excuse me.
So I still think Texas is the best team in college football. I do.
I think you can make that argument because of their front seven. I can see that. Offensively, I don't know yet. Name a receiver with more than 20 catches.
Oh, yeah. And then, you got to replace both tackles. It's going to be.
And Carter, I got to be honest with you. I'm telling you, listen to your best friend here. Listen to your boy. They could not run the football against ranked opponents. They didn't. Carter, they averaged 90. I tweeted this. They averaged 90 yards per game against ranked opponents. Rushing. They couldn't run the ball.
So let me ask you this. Would you say Penn State CFP lock next year?
No, because I think James Franklin could shit down his leg. But they have everything that they need to go and win it. Schedule, home games, they have everything that they need to win it. But no, I think he could go 10-2, and he'll still be back in the playoff. I mean, but they have everything they need to be there. Guys, everybody wants to talk about Drew Aller being overrated. Carter, he couldn't get a receiver to get a yard's worth of separation. Not a yard. He's never had a receiver like that. Lambert Smith, maybe, but he left. He had a ketchup packet, a thing of Chick-fil-A sauce, a.k.a. honey mustard, and a pack of crawfish from a gas station. It sucked.
I don't know. I don't want to say that Clemson's the best team again.
Josh Pate certainly thinks so, which I don't know if I agree with him. I'm not there. I'm not there with Clemson.
But they're top 5.
They are top 5. They can whip your ass now.
Yeah.
I don't think, last thing I'm getting you out of here, I don't know if we have a tackle that can stop TJ Parker. Not consistently.
Yeah.
TJ Parker is a dog with an hand. He's a pit bull.
What? Let me ask. What do you think about Bo Bentley, the quarterback prospect?
I think that if I were an LSU fan, I feel really good about where we sit at the current moment. You're a little bit far out for me to make a decision. I know that people have been making some decisions and putting picks in. LSU does not have a commitment from him right now. They do not. Sources, they don't. I think financially they'll be where they need to be. I've watched him play. I think he's going to have to take a couple of years before he's your starter. I don't think he can come in here and compete for it. What do you think?
Yeah, not as a true freshman. No, I mean, he only has 1 year of full starts and played in a lot of blowouts, but athletically he's got juice, man.
He can move. He can move. I love the way that he kind of shortstop throws the ball. He's kind of more of a playmaker than a true what's the word I'm looking for? He's not mechanical.
Right.
But
He plays naturally. Yeah.
He plays naturally, which if he can refine some of those things, he'll be good. But he's got to gain some weight. He's got to take it serious. By the way, speaking of quarterbacks, I heard Colin Hurley came back and is throwing the shit out of the ball. There are some people that have been talking some. All right, Michael Van Buren better be careful. He better be. I'm telling you right now. There's some people in that building who, since Colin Hurley's come back, are like, "Oh shit!" All right, something clicked with that young man. I'm telling you right now, Michael Van Buren better watch himself. He better watch himself.
Well, you know what it could be, Blake? It could just be adolescence. Colin Hurley's one of the youngest LSU football players of all time.
Hey, and what he went through, God bless that the good Lord saved him. But something like that can make something in your mind snap. I mean, I spoke with my mom. I spoke about my mom earlier. That shit happened to me. We were heading from the Dugas Center, leaving Southeastern. I got in a pretty bad accident. Kids weren't in car seats. A woman runs out in front of me, and I T-bone her because she runs literally in front of me. It's a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit, and dude, I flip over. I'm like hanging on by my seatbelt. I mean, mentally, I was never the same, ever. And God bless that Colin Hurley was safe. Deep sources here for you. Colin Hurley's turned some heads in some of these 7-on-7 stuff. Interceptions have dropped. Decision-making has gotten better. He knows where he needs to go with the football. I'm really intrigued to see him this fall and see what he looks like.
I mean, he's been on my channel before. He's been on yours. He broke down some plays for me. I mean, his football acumen is ridiculous. Like, he really cares about this stuff. So, once again, he reclassed. And the thing about the reclass is even for his own class, he was younger. So, especially at quarterback where age is such a massive factor where you would prefer an older quarterback. I mean, literally, he's still growing, right? So, yeah, it's unbelievable.
Actually, I don't even know if he's 18. Yeah, he's 18.
Yeah,
he should be coming in this class.
Yeah, I mean, On3 released a piece about this today. I've talked about this plenty of times. Age matters. Age matters a lot more in high school football recruiting than you think. And when I go down this rabbit hole, it bores people to death, but it's honestly true. DJ Chark.
Look at Tate Anderson. He's a draft eligible sophomore. He's 21.
Right.
I mean, it happens in every sport. These kids that keep getting held back are benefiting from it.
Yes. So let's take the most obvious example of this is Leonard Fournette and DJ Chark, right? They're in the same recruiting class, but Fournette was, I think, 1 year and 8 months older than DJ Chark. So, and that's not that against Fournette. He's obviously an all-time great player. It's just DJ Chark, if you actually go back and look at his recruiting photo, he's a baby-faced 3-star kid from Alexandria. So part of why he was underrated is that he was younger than a lot of the competition he was going up against, right? So if you're a younger player and you dominate, there have been millions of studies done on this. It matters. And guess what, Blake? It not only matters athletically, it's academics. It's they've also discovered even in band, your chair that you get in band, because it goes by a chair system. The older band students outperform the younger band students.
So basically, the older people play neck better.
Yes, yeah. So it's insane, bro. It is insane how being held back can really move the needle. And
you have the oldest quarterback in the country.
Who, Garrett?
Brother, Garrett's been here since 2020. I mean, right? I mean, he's going on year 5.
I don't know if he's the oldest. I'm not even sure.
Name another one older than him.
Oh, Pavia.
I mean, you're right. Maybe not the oldest, but Carter, he's been here since COVID.
Oh, I know, but that's somewhat common for quarterbacks. I think Taylor Green was class of 2021 too. So,
well, Garrett was a class of 20.
Was he?
Yeah, remember he came in the Max Johnson COVID year, right?
Yes.
Or was he 21?
So he was a BTJ Malik Neighbors class. Or was it? No, he was a class
21, 22, 23, 24, 25. You're right, 21.
Yes.
21. You're right.
But yes.
Damn. You're right. Yeah, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25.
Yeah, there's still some 2020 quarterbacks still floating around. TJ Finley. Huh?
I don't think he's ever going to play again.
I don't either.
So, Carter the Power, always the best. Thank you, buddy. We'll talk soon.
All right, buddy. Cheers.
That is Carter the Power Bryant. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Y'all have a good night. Peace.